aliens are real.
I have met them.
He is what you call an extraterrestrial in human form.
I just got a feeling as I was sitting here, and I feel like crying.
Okay.
And I feel like crying because I feel I'm with like-minded people. I feel that I'm with people who I want to be with. Aliens are amongst us, they're around us, they're visiting us, they exist. But for me, it's not just a belief, it's an experience. My name is Susan and I'm 72. I just remember this spacecraft and there were two beings in the spacecraft. I can see their faces now. They were so beautiful. They had big eyes, they had blonde hair, sort of down to here from what I can remember, but it's set in my memory. I remember looking and I wasn't scared. We were communicating, but it was, I now realise, being an adult, it was telepathy.
If you think about like telepathy and communicating through the pool of consciousness, is this done by putting yourself into or aligning yourself with those specific frequencies?
We are all interconnected, and if you study quantum physics, they call it quantum entanglement, meaning that we are all interwoven on a quantum realm. Now, when you talk about frequencies, when we say that the physical plane is the lowest of planes, talking about the frequency, but while still in the physical plane, you still can tune the dial up to higher frequencies that we do all the time subconsciously when we go to sleep. But when we are asleep, there is no space or time. So time is existence, existence is time. Time is in us, through us, and around us. We've got then in the past, and we have then in the future. The past is still happening, and the future has already happened. So there's only now. When we think of the past, we are thinking about the past now. When we are thinking about future events, we're thinking about it now. So there's no future in the future, and there's no past in the past. It's only now.
If you're enjoying the content so far, like and comment.
Yeah, I wanted to ask, how did they originally arrive on Earth? Because one of my questions was, can they have children with humans? And you've said yes. So that would carry on the lineage of, and would answer the question of how they're still here. But how did they originally arrive, and why was it to help civilizations evolve and expand their knowledge, or was it to like study them or control them, or were there several extraterrestrial groups with different interests?
It's all of the above. It really literally is all of the above.
All of it.
Go on, have to, yeah.
That's a very good question. First of all, as you said, a lot of it's got to do with the language that we speak. We speak the English language. In the word planet, you had the word plan-E-T. That should give you a clue. You see, so you got plan of extraterrestrials. Now, that extraterrestrials seeded this planet millions of years ago. They seeded by way of the DNA that's coming from the Sirius star system and Orion star system into the waters of the planet millions of years ago. The extraterrestrials that we associate ourselves with is a deity called Ptah. Ptah. Because these beings are scientists or galactical scientists of the highest order. To them beings, time means nothing because time doesn't exist outside this 3D realm. Like when you're sleeping, it's no time doesn't exist. Actually, time and space is part of the spell or sleep.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I also
mention.
Are we the only planet that experiences linear time?
Well, it's actually an illusion. I'll give you a scenario, an example, what the master teacher, Partner Babianun, gave. In a lecture called, Does God Exist According to Our Time? Yeah? He gave an example of an ant. If an ant was to move from this corner of the room to the end of the room, and you as a human walked to that end of the room, to an ant, its perception of you is that you're eternal. Do you understand? Because the length of time it takes an ant to cross the road or to get to the other end of the room could be days. But you could do it in a matter of seconds.
Yeah.
So time in that perspective
Yeah.
is that from where they are to you, it could be billions of years. For them, it could have been a day that they've just traveled and come back.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So this is the concept of what we're talking about in the sense of time. It's irrelevant because it just is. That's what perhaps you were saying. You can't measure it by our yardstick, even though we're trying to. But then it's a mental construct to keep us in a particular mental state. If you're new here, hit subscribe and turn on your notifications.
I was just thinking about it. The jinn is made up of fire and the angel are made up of water.
All right, yeah. When you talk the word jinn, in Arabic, the word is no samun. They talk about their energy field is amber. They're of the amber light, as opposed to, or the cherubim, and those of the green light are known as the seraphim, the agreeable and disagreeable. The jinn, or what they call shaitan in Arabic, or Satan. Yeah, these are a group of extraterrestrials made of smokeless. When they say smokeless wind, they talk about their nature, that they are that makes up their composition. And when you in the Quran, when they talk about Mikael or Michael, they call him in the Quran as El Khidr, the green one. So this is in reference to his composition or his energy field. So you have a group of extraterrestrials or angels of the green light, or the seraphim, and those of the amber light, or those made of fire, the disagreeables. Okay, so that's why when we make mention of Revelation chapter 12 verse 7, where it says there's war in the heavens, means there's a battle. Michael and his angels, those of the green light, the seraphim, fought against the dragon and his angels, his cherubims, and it goes on to say and they got cast out of the Orion skies, meaning that the word heaven, as we said earlier on, in the Greek is Ragos, which is really the Orion star system. So they got cast out, meaning they were no longer part of what we refer to as the sun members. There's a council, and they were no longer the so-called dragon and his angels or his messengers. They were no longer of that council. They got cast out and they got sent to the planet in spirit form.
Like we have the United Nations, where you have representatives from different countries and different sovereign nations. You have galactic councils as well, intergalactical councils, where beings from different galaxies come and they're representing their galaxy. Parnabab Yanun is from the 19th galaxy. We are in the 18th galaxy, which is next door to the 19th galaxy. What happens on the planet will affect our neighbors. So if we cause a Holocaust, which is like
nuclear bombs,
this can lead to the sinister extraterrestrial wanting to just blow up the planet. And then you have some who are trying to leave the planet. You know, they want to go to Mars, and they want to go to Europa, and they want to go to different places and start life there.
For the full unedited discussions, click the link in the description. Now, let's get to the 3 verses 1.
The word soul, and I was quite mystified when you said not everybody has a soul. Because right. I've been carrying this thing in, everyone has a soul.
It's misinterpretation because people mix up spirit and soul.
Yes.
And they're two different words, so they must have two different meanings.
Yes.
Lucia mentioned before that in the religious world, when they're talking about soul, they don't realize you have two souls. One is referred to as the breath of life.
Yes.
Because we all need to breathe, which is converting oxygen, into, we breathe in oxygen and we give out carbon dioxide, which tells you that there's a process or something that's happening. So it's a burning that's taking place because carbon is a residue of burning.
Yeah.
So you either have a lit fire, right, which we call a solar or solar plexus, because solar refers to the sun, or you have a lunar plex, which means is cold or not activated, which is the moon, relating to the moon. So you have the moon cycle and the sun cycle, as we mentioned before, or agreeable beings and disagreeable beings, which we might refer to as jinns. The brother was mentioning that this relates to light because you have different types of light. So you have light where you can use it in an agreeable way, like to cook food or to warm, like we're using light right now. But light has a spectrum and a frequency, which can go to disagreeable light, where you get words like Illuminati, which the word Illuminati means illuminated, which is being illuminated by light, or what they call the fire. So they say Lucifer is the fire bearer. Yeah, so there's two separate lights going on, and those who don't activate or have a soul, they operating on the spirit, which is dealing with the lower vibrations. In order to reach the higher vibrations, you need that soul to be activated to be able to pull you upwards. So you got a struggle going on all the time.
Yeah, so it's a bit like the light and the, so Jung referred to the shadow, didn't he?
Right,
Jung,
exactly, exactly.
So it's about...
So coming to the science of being able to use frequency to heal.
Yes.
You can use frequency, whether it's sound, whether it's light, and this is dealing with understanding the electromagnetic spectrum.
Yes.
Where people's auras are emanating different types of light. And you have lights which are like, let's say the colors, when they become that frequency, like green light or the white light. The yellow light refers to the intellect, the white light is purity, the green light is healing. So once you know how, you can actually, and then the lower lights, like the grays and the dark, not in color, but just like the negative, they go down, and these are the negative emotions that people have and negative thoughts that they're pulling from the reservoir. So it's really about, if you're channeling the green light, you can utilize that energy in healing. And depending on who you are, even though we're not going to, like Sia said, and tell you about your experience, but the science aspect of it is that you can use vibrations and frequencies to heal if you know how, you see. So yeah.
And sorry, no, I was saying that you mentioned about your relatives or people that you, the light beings that are around you when you're doing your healing.
Oh, yeah, not just my generally it's the relatives of the people who will come. Their relatives will come.
Okay, so you
into the space.
sound like a medium.
Channeling.
So I channel as well, and also I've had. I also have what I refer to as spirit doctors, doctors who have actually lived on Earth.
Okay.
And they want to serve humanity.
Right.
And there are two particular doctors who've written their names down.
Okay.
So can I say, in case anybody wants to?
If we learn from you as well.
Exactly.
So
each one to each one.
Okay, so the first one is he became a Sir. Okay, well he's Dr. Ludwig Guttmann.
Okay.
And he was of German origin, and he came to England in 1939.
Okay.
He was a German Jew, so he came over to here. And he was given a post, he's a neurologist, he was given a post at Stoke Mandeville Hospital in Buckinghamshire. I don't know if you've heard of that.
No,
Okay.
Association with that as well.
Okay. And he, I mean, they've actually made a film of him, and it shows how he introduced the Paralympics.
Okay.
So he comes into the space.
Okay.
Yeah, from time to time. And there's another doctor called Dr. Reich Hammer. He was German on Earth. And he was very much, he introduced something called German New Medicine. And he got himself involved with cancer.
Okay.
But he was not, so he comes into the space. So he came into the space a while ago for somebody I was working with who was diagnosed with cancer. And I could actually feel his personality, his strength of his personality to help this woman. But he was not accepted by the authorities and he was imprisoned. So they're just two of the doctors who've lived on Earth.
Okay.
But light beings come in. Masters, ascended masters come in. Okay. There's a load of them.
Okay.
All sorts, and as I say, relatives, ancestors of the people, the person who's coming. Yeah.
We've got. you know about Hitler, right? He was in touch with like
The Theosophical
the
Society.
Theosophical Society.
Well, you
and the
mentioned
Thule
it earlier
Society.
on. Now, I did
Yeah.
not know that.
Because the people you mentioned, they kind of tie back and go to Germany or be Germans. And he was in touch with Madame Blavatsky, who was like a channeler that he utilized to contact these beings from Aldebaran that we mentioned before, like the Ashtar command. And they were doing the same thing where they were giving him information, and these extraterrestrials chose him as their man on the planet. That's why he was going about trying to create what he termed the superior race, and the blonde hair, blue eyes, which are the Ashtar Federation. So
The Ashtar, because I've actually had experience of those.
Yeah,
Okay.
Years
Pleiadians,
ago.
Ashtar Federation are, it's like the United Nations, but there's a particular extraterrestrials who belong to that federation.
I got the feeling they were Pleiadians.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The Ashtar Command
Okay.
are Pleiadians.
Okay.
But it's like you've got like the United Nations, but there's
Oh,
different
different.
beings that operate or work together.
Yes.
Do you see what I'm saying? They are known as also as your Yahwehans
Okay.
in your Bible.
Yeah.
So these particular beings, like Sir Ken was saying, is that they traveled in time. They initially came to Eisenhower. I think it's Eisenhower. Yeah, and they were Eisenhower tricked them, and because of that, they went back into time, or went back into a time period where they met up with Zigrum and Madame Blavatsky, who were mediums. And because these mediums were into the channeling up into the occult world.
Okay.
But because these Pleiadians knew that the occult world is really a dealing of energy and frequencies, they were able to manifest themselves as the Pleiadians and introduce themselves. Now, from that introduction, they then were able to contact Hitler, Adolf Hitler, and use him to set up the Third Reich. You see what I'm saying? And to set up certain things and to start creating a replica of themselves on the planet.
Right.
This is where your Hitler's project was.
Project the Master Race.
Exactly.
Thank you for explaining that.
What happened to all of this knowledge that just seemed to disappear, and all these civilizations that just from what seems from one day to another just cease to exist? And is that like part of the cyclical kind of nature of balance, that there, of course, we should all strive to elevate our consciousness, but at the same time we do need a balance between light and darkness? And is this part of that like cyclical balance that kind of gets self-restored, or was it accidental, or was there a power shift in other beings?
It's funny because your mental processing, which is your reasoning, is actually alluding to a lot of the truths within your question, because all the things that you're actually trying to elucidate the truth from, you're answering them, but you just need confirmation. You understand? So yes, there have been cyclical. We call it the 24,000 year cycle. So every 24,000 years is a renewal of our, as Natharu or children of the Natharu, that's our way of life. Now 24,000 years also is part of the planet as well, goes through a cycle, which is 24,000 year cycle. And that's split into a quarter. So you have 6,000 years, which is known as the sun cycle, 6,000 years, which is known as the moon cycle, and they alternate. So right now, we've entered into the sun cycle, which happened from the year 1999, 2000 stroke. And we have spoke about that, call it the Aquarian age and many other things like that. So when that cycle starts to now come through, the hidden mysteries or the hidden things have now been revealed by the being known as Sir Ken said, Amon Nubi Re'e Achach Patah. He's that Pharaoh that will unveil all those hidden mysteries and teach us to the point where we raise our consciousness, you see what I'm saying? And we become the students of that particular high teacher, high priest. And then we then as students go out into the world to reveal that to the rest of humanity. So that's what our job is, you see. So
Yeah.
that cycle is the day and time you're living in. And there have been societies that have sprung up from the teachings of this particular being known as Tahuti, etc. Some have utilized it for their gain.
Yeah.
Some have utilized it to suppress. Do you see what I'm saying? Some have utilized it just for their own benefit, etc. So it's like what's taking place is that whoever gets their hands on knowledge, they can do two things with it, isn't it? They can suppress it or they can share it to the public.
Yeah.
But we know that because of the cycle, that last cycle I spoke about, the moon cycle, was one of the worst cycles for humanity.
Why?
And essentially, because the moon cycle brings with it negative thoughts and negative energy. You see what I'm saying? In the moon cycle, the sun cycle brings the opposite.
Okay.
We call it a 6 ether and 9 ether. So 6 ether is opposite of 9, and 6 suppresses while 9 lifts. You see what I'm saying? Remove the oppression. So this is what we're in now. So that last 6,000 years is when many of the atrocities that humanity has been, involved in has happened in that cycle, you see. And we're just now we're now into the year 6025. In our calendar, we call it 625. It's 25 years from the last... 26 26 years now from the last moon cycle. That's what we're entered into. So those 26 years, there's going to be a lot of revelations that are taking place, revealing of things. Not revelations of the Bible, but I'm just saying revelations, and you're going to see a lot more changes taking place.
Of clarity and...
Yeah, exactly.
Simply, if you think about energy and balance, let's say you've got 2 circles, and all bad should be in one circle and all good should be in one circle.
Yeah.
But there is a balance if both circles are equally in terms of their quantity. But what happens is, and you talk about that, like the middle being the center, and then the scales can tip in one way or the other. And depending on how it tilts, the beings on the planet are affected. So in the last 6,000 years, it was tilted more to the disagreeable with all the chaos and the wars and all the conflicts that go on the planet, because religion was introduced in that last 6,000 year moon cycle. Religion is only 6,000 years old compared to the cycle of 24,000 years. So when we come out of that moon cycle, it's like people waking up and now starting to realize they were under a spell. We start to tip the balance. Ideally, all the people that are in the disagreeable or bad circle are meant to be in the other circle. And it's okay if the 2 circles are balanced. This is where the whole concept of the feather of ma'at and the deeds that you do, because you're both agreeable and disagreeable as well. You have 180 degrees of, people say bad and good, but it's really energy, like positive and negative, because you need the both for polarity and for the balance. In computers, it's zeros and ones, and we've mentioned many examples of that. So what's happening is that if you're balanced, or if you're leaning more over to your agreeable side, your nature is more ruled and governed by your agreeable side. So you become agreeable in nature. And then you've kind of like suppressed or conquered the other side. But you have both natures, because you have the reptilian nature, because we have a reptilian brain and we actually evolved from the waters. We need to drink water every day, have a shower or a bath every day. We're in a water planet. We're breathing water, but we call it air, just a finer form of water. So the reptilian side of you, these reptilian beings, they appeal to that side by constantly advertising, promoting and marketing disagreeableness and 6 ether forces. The sex force is one of those forces they use a lot. So you have to be aware that you're being manipulated and a lot of things are distorted to appeal to your reptilian nature. But you have what people will consider their God or their good nature. But once you understand that, you've got to, and your ancestors as well that align with you, because you've got those that are agreeable, you've got those that are disagreeable. making up your 29 or less personalities. Each one of these personalities can influence you on a daily basis because you've got a radio in your head. You hear their voices, as well as the external voices from the extraterrestrials and beings on the planet that are running the world and manipulating people's emotions and feelings. So it's really about you learning to suppress all the disagreeable six ether forces within you and leaning more to the other side so you can elevate on all the different realms and levels.
Click here now to watch the full unedited version. Each 1 versus 3 uncut, and the full 3 versus 3 discussion.